joining us for this month's Lunch and Learn for the Journey. We have a great speaker for you today, Tim Redmond, who's written Power to Create. He's got a great message for us today. It's going to help inspire you so you can really step into your greatness.
Well, how many, this is your first time hearing me, or you've heard me before? This is going to be a tough crowd here. Okay? Should be everybody raising their hand here. Well, actually, before we get started here, the thing that I love about the Journey Group is they really get into celebrating the uniqueness and the power of each person near you. And I'd like for you to turn to your neighbor, and I want you to just tell them, wow, you look good today. Can you do that? Now, turn to the other neighbor that you ignored. I want you to tell them you are sitting next to a big shot. Can you do that? This is a great honor to be here to speak with you and be part of this organization here today, this short moment. How many here have actually either are part of the Journey Group or have gone through the Journey? Okay, good number. How many don't even have a clue why you're here today? Now, how many are not? Free lunch, come on! I mean, I show up here like every day I get a lunch. There's some group in here or something. What I'm signed up for. I'm going to share with you some stuff. We need a little bit of time to do it because I want to share with you the 323 steps of simplifying your life. Before I get into that, though, I want to say, for those of you that do not know any, that are not that familiar with Journey, can you raise your hand here? Maybe you've heard about it, but you've never gone through it. Okay. All right. Good. Fresh meat. No. No. I'm gonna talk to you about some lessons I've learned in life, and really a lot of it has been through the work that I do. As Arthur said, I go all over the world and I speak and I train on leadership and creative problem solving. I've gone tremendously a number of times down to South America and Central America and Europe and Asia. And I've been to 6 of the 7 continents. I have not gone down to Antarctica yet, and so don't plan to on that. But I do share lessons. I want to be able to share some of the lessons I've shared today. A lot of what I do now is I don't travel around as much, but I work with business owners, and I actually just started this morning, head of a nonprofit organization. We're just going to blow it up. They just got huge things they stand for. So what I do is I work with CEOs or leaders in the group, and I help them run a better organization. We usually can double sales in a year. We can usually cut marketing costs down by about 50%. We just make things better, more effective, and we do everything from the strategic planning to making sure a website gets done to any graphics there is needed. But really it's getting into the mindset of leaders and helping them run a better organization so that that organization can fulfill its purpose in a better way. And for most of it, it's in a profit environment. So I help companies increase their profits. Usually in a year's time, we can usually double or triple the profit. And that's very typical of what we do here. So I just have a blast doing what I'm doing. It's something that I love to do, and so some of the lessons that I want to be able to share with you today comes out of my interactions of my own mistakes that I've made and the lessons I've learned from that. And I'm one of 11 children, so that becomes its own learning environment here. My parents wanted to replenish the earth all by themselves. They're pretty much single-handedly. I've grown up with a pregnant woman, between my mom and my wife, Because we have 4 kids, 4 very above average children. How many of y'all have children? Why? No. You ever wonder that sometimes? So, no, this morning, Darcy's children. But anyways, so I hope this is going to be of benefit to you. I'd like to frame this in this environment, Gene, if you'll let me here. I want to frame this in well, let me ask you this. How many of you looked in a mirror this morning, getting ready? All right. Now, what did you say, when you looked in the mirror this morning, what did you say to yourself? Your contract, good. You've been through the training. What else have we said here? God is with you. My God, why have you forsaken me? I want to talk to you today about improving your looks. Improving your looks. It's a multi-billion-dollar, soon-to-be trillion-dollar industry on an annual basis. This process of improving your looks, moving things around and taking things and applying things and sitting under things and all kinds of things here to improve our looks. But if I could, in the next 30 minutes, if I could really improve your looks, would that be worth you coming out today? Would that be like that? All right. All right. So back to this morning when you're looking at. Sorry, I know you have another one. So, but sorry about that. Back to you looking in the mirror this morning. I'm curious on what you said to yourself. Maybe not out loud, but in your thoughts. It's interesting because, what do you have? What is it? Is it Bob? Bob, yeah, that's right.
I can airbrush that out.
I can airbrush that out. Okay, excellent. We'll have to talk and maybe we'll work together. That's good. And there's a number of services I want to provide you about airbrushing all kinds of things out. That's actually what they're no. We're talking about improving your looks, and what happens here is when we look in the mirror, we say stuff to ourselves. The psychologists have determined that we speak to ourselves about 1,500 to 2,000 words a minute. Men, about 7 words a minute. We're speaking to ourselves, and that's called self-talk. Most of what we're saying to ourselves on the subconscious or preconscious level is us talking to ourselves about ourselves. Now here's a question I have for you. Is if you had a friend that spoke to you, Julie, if you had a friend that spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friend? I want to ask that again. Amy, if you had a friend that spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friend? How about you, Ryan?
Depending on who it is.
Dr. M?
I'd be fine with me.
Be fine. Okay. So there's a lot of us that are in warfare against ourselves. A lot of us would not. There's no way that I would have a friend like that. But I'm going to say, in order to improve your looks, start by not picking on yourself. There's enough other people in the world that want to pick on you. Especially if you're Arthur Greeno.
Line up.
Line up. Get in line. Take a ticket. I want to suggest a few ideas that will help you improve your looks. And what we're talking about improving your looks is may not be so much not how you look in the mirror, but how are you looking at what you're looking at. That's really what I'm talking about. How are you looking at what you're looking at? Maybe you've heard a sermon, maybe you watched a movie, maybe you've read a book. This just changed my life. Just changed my life. Well, what in your life changed? Was there anything in your life changed? Do you still have the same kids? Are you still married to the same person? Do you still have the same mean boss? How many of you have a boss in here that you don't want to admit? A mean boss? What? Let's talk about this, Renee.
Sorry, I'm gonna reach across.
That's what I'm talking about. What changed in your life? Everything's the same except for something on the inside. What changed is how you're looking at what you're looking at. And if you can change your perception, somebody over here said it, if we can change how you're looking at what you're looking at, it can empower you. See, what's going through your mind is either tearing you down and paralyzing this gift you are to the world, or it's unleashing the real you, the best version of you. And I'm going to share 3 different areas for us to improve our looks on. The first area is, how do I improve my looks as it relates to leadership? And not leadership across the street, not leadership that's the boss in charge, not leadership that's the other guy. But I'm talking about this phenomenal gift that God Almighty is excited about. This world changer, I want to introduce you to this person. The world changer, going to change the world, and that person is sitting in your chair right now. That leadership, how you look at leadership, how you define leadership, defines you. How do you look at leadership? Is leadership always something that somebody else does? Is it across the street? Is it someday you'll get to that point? I'm going to dare to say that from the beginning of time, there's a wiring on the inside of you, Karen, that the world around you is starving for the leadership gift in you. Not just a pump you up motivational speaker. I mean, you can come and join me in my van down near the river. I mean, I've got one there. I am a motivational speaker, but it's not what it's all about. It's revealing the reality of who you are right now. It's improving how you look at yourself. That you are, in fact, a leader. A leader. How do you define leader? And how you define it defines you, because you are it. I always looked at leadership as being something else or someday. But when you begin to see that leadership is really invoking positive change into an environment, invoking to help improve somebody's looks. Have you ever had a time where you come in and your friends are down and depressed, it's like a black cloud over, and you just come in and just within moments, everybody's lit up and talking again here? At that moment, leadership happens. And it's not just making this up so you feel better. I'm saying right now that the world around you is starving for your gift to come out. But what we do is we get so busy living our lives, we forget stuff. You ever forget stuff? This is a true story. I was down in Jacksonville, Florida, doing some church meetings, and I had an entrepreneurial group gather Saturday night before the Sunday services. And hey, Pastor, bring all the business owners here. We'll train on business, and some guys, I shared a few steps, and then we had some interaction. The guy came up to me afterwards. He runs the sales organization, and he had earlier that week. He's starting the day just loaded with all kinds of thoughts. He's driving down the road, and all of a sudden he notices this car's like right behind him. True story. He slows down. He speeds up. He changes lane. No matter what he did, this car's like right behind him. He starts to get nervous. He's like this thing in Florida that you guys don't know anything about in Tulsa. This thing called road rage, okay? So he honestly began to fear for his life. He began to sweat. He began to declare all the verses in the Bible he knew, both of them. He was really freaking out. He finally got his cell phone and called his wife. His wife's name, Jean, you've got to pray. Somebody's going to run me off the road. Somebody's going to run me off the road. He's sweating. He's fearing for his life. True story. His wife calmed him down and reminded him of something he had forgotten 30 minutes ago. That he had hooked up a trailer on the back of his car.
Oh my God.
Tell me you had a stupid one.
Many.
So what we do is, sometimes we forget what we've done, but what we do, let me tell you, leaders, what we've done here is we haven't just forgotten what we've done, we've forgotten something far worse, we've forgotten who we are. A leader is an answer. A leader is a creative catalyst to say, how can we look at what we're looking at better? How can we look at what we're looking at from a place of possibility? How can there be a way? What can we do to improve this situation? We're geared, our amygdala, our whole emotional center is geared towards avoiding loss. And some of us are not playing to win. Some of us are playing not to lose. And I'm going to invite you into this larger arena of life to let your leadership fly, to improve your looks, especially in how you look at yourself. What we do is we forget who we are and we begin to conform to the very world that, can I say God here?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, we end up conforming to the very world that God's called us to transform. I was on my way. We were growing a software company years ago, and we were on our way up to New York City, big trade show up there. Another true story. And not that I need to justify that, but I was headed from Tulsa to Chicago, and then I was going to go to my other gate to catch my plane to New York. And so I get off the plane in Chicago. Have you ever been to Chicago O'Hare Airport? It's crazy. It's the busiest place on the planet. And I get off the plane here, and I'm like, nice. I'm from Oklahoma. How y'all doing? I'm having a good day, And so just relaxing, just enjoying whistling while I work here. And I notice all the people around me are like moving fast, and all the people are like darting around. There's like fear and anxiety in their eyes. Their eyes are dilated. It's probably higher than a kite. And they're just walking around, just looking around, dilating, darting in their fear and anguish and anxiety. And I'm walking, and I find myself walking faster and faster, faster and faster. And I remember going down like the G gate, like these long hallways in O'Hare and everything. And I remember I'm walking, my eyes are dilated and I'm darting around, fear and anguish and anxiety. And it's like I'm running side by side with another businessman, having a race, and I'm racing as fast as I can, going as fast as I can. And I hurry to get to my gate, and I sit down and wait 3 hours for my plane. That's called conforming to your world. But as a leader, you're not a conformer, you're a transformer. That's just your wiring. It's not blending in, it's standing out. It's not sitting down, it's standing up. It's not shutting down, it's declaring, getting loud. And no matter what your personality is, it may be more introverted. Mike Tedford tells me he's more introverted than his brother. I'm still trying to figure that one out. See it, but you may be more quiet. Leadership is not how loud you can get. It's the difference. It's how are you looking at yourself? How are you looking at your problems? Are they bigger than you? Are you going to conform to them? How many of you are facing a challenge right now? How many of you are sitting next to your biggest challenge right now? Arthur, why are you sitting by yourself? Nobody's
Challenges left.
My challenge is left. How are you looking at your challenges? Are they bigger than you? Or like, is there like these emotional responses? Do you get your heart get beating faster? I'm not asking you to be perfect. We're living in this world. When I coach people and help people, I get dramatic results here. But I warn them, I said, I am coaching you as much out of need as I am out of mastery. Nobody's perfect. We're figuring this out as we go along. But one of the most important things that I give my kids is this gift called confidence. You may not know how to do it, just know that you can. You may not be able to figure out this problem you're facing. You gotta have a relationship. How are you looking at your problems? How are you looking at your problems? See, this is the way I look at it, is you work on your problems and your problems work on you and you both get better. Just think about it. One guy says, count it all joy when you're facing these big challenges, these problems. Knowing that when you work on your problems work on you, everybody gets better. I'm just wanting here to, I want to remind you that the world desperately needs you. Is it Chrissy? Desperately needs you, Chrissy. Chrissy and I go way back here, about 3 seconds. I want you to wake up, to improve how you're looking at yourself as a leader. How are you looking at your problems? Just know that people are watching you all the time. And you're a living example. You're an inspiration. I just text somebody on the way out here and says, you are a gift. I'm so grateful for you. There's people that think that and feel that towards you. You go, well, I don't think so. Stop picking on yourself. My wife was getting ready we're going out somewhere, and I take about 15 minutes to get ready, whether it's for a wedding or a formal thing, or I'm gonna go out and get a burger at Five Guys or something, same amount of time. My wife was on her super duper time, the 90-minute getting ready time. And if you've known my wife, she's a beautiful woman. I've really married up. I mean, she's, I've got this self-worth issue that goes on. That's why I need to go through the rest of the training here. But anyways, this whole deal is, she's better than I deserve. She's just awesome. And here she is, arrayed in all of her beauty. She's looking at herself, and she's, in the process of dressing herself, and she's making these comments about herself and her body. And I'm getting out of the shower, clueless to the world, me. And I heard her saying that. And women that are married, do you ever find it where your husband actually stumbles into saying something intelligent from time to time? I had one of those moments. It gets me about 3.5 years. I remember saying this. I remember saying, Sandy, stop saying that. Nobody talks to my best friend that way. And she's like ready to get a fight going. And she goes, oh. We were late. Hold your hand out for just a moment. Straight out. Straight out. And as hard as you can, I want you to take your finger and your index finger and mash it together like you're squashing something. And then as quick as you can without hurting yourself, as quick as you can, I want you to touch your chin. Hurry. I want you to turn to your neighbor and ask him, is that your chin?
Oh.
This was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen today. Boom! Boom! Some of you are more southern. Here's the lesson in leadership, folks. It's not just what you say, it's what you do.
Yeah.
It's how are you looking at yourself? What are you saying about yourself? How are you looking at your challenges? Last thing I wanted to share with you. This as I begin my first of 7 closes. How are you looking at the thing that's been really painful in your life? An experience, maybe a handicap, maybe a betrayal, maybe it was a divorce in a marriage or divorce in a business. Somebody cheated you, somebody lied to you, somebody physically abused you. As I talk about this, I immediately become sensitive to feel thing. I get overwhelmed right now. Whoa, it's just happening right now. So I've got my hair up. It's overwhelming me. What's wrong right now? I'm sorry for there's a way even to improve the looks on the place of greatest pain. And the thing that we think defines us and pushes us down, I believe is the thing that refines us. I believe the stumbling block, or what we call the stumbling block, is really a stepping stone. Some of you have a place of pain that creates a lot of shame. There's part of you, and part of you hiding your heart. You need all your heart to show up. That's why I love this journey program here. Just like, here you go, world, like it or not. It just gives you permission to live large. That's why I love this program. How many of you are hiding behind your pain with shame, guilt? Maybe because it hurts so much, there's no way this could be any good. And I'm going to dare to say in the middle of your, I was going to say shit, but I got to crap. Fecal matter, sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said this. Ship high in transit, that's what that means. It's the whole story behind it. So I think I just separated myself from about half the group. That is part of my learning style here. What are you going to say? That's what I want you to say. Now get back involved. So, I was born at a very early age. No. When I was born with a number of complications. I had pretty severe cleft palate, lip palate, and it was scary. Maybe some cleft palates in here, but had other complications, and so my parents were encouraged to, whatever your belief is, take care of that, because this boy is not going to last you a week. And so my parents went to the priest. I remember it was a Tuesday night. They ran me in, and this priest, which most priests are good and godly men, there's phenomenal people in the priesthood. But he wasn't right. As a matter of fact, he declared himself to be an atheist about 6 months after this event. He looked down at me, and my mom told me he looked down at me with a level of disdain. And he announced a curse over me. He said, "This boy will never be a priest, and you'll never be a public speaker." The power of that curse ruled my life. As a child growing up, many operations, still the back of my mouth is not closed. I don't drink with straws. There's things that are just part of my lifestyle now. It's just you get used to things. This is not actually, it's like, I'm calling you, Tim, to go to the nations to declare my glory. He said, I want you to be my mouthpiece. I'm saying, how dare God, whoever that is, how dare God talk about the place of greatest pain? If he's going to use that place of greatest pain for his glory, right? The audaciousness, the rudeness. I think you're talking to the wrong guy. I had a slur. I had kids make fun of me the way I spoke. I stuttered because I was so uptight about it. Yet God said, I'm going to use that place of pain for my glory. It's not a stumbling block. All things work together. Even that thing that hurts the most, even that thing that creates the most shame, and shame is you want to pull away from society. And God's design is for you to engage, for you to live with your heart full out. That's what we're all about here. And I began a very painful process of coming outside my shell. And I literally have spent hours speaking in the tape recorders to hear myself and to enunciate. I would cry here and say, this is hopeless. I'll never be able to speak anymore. But I'll tell you today, a lot of work. Life isn't easy, but it's worth it. Life is not easy. It's like the road less traveled. First line, first sentence, 3 words. Life is difficult. Welcome to the planet. I stand before you today in defiance of that curse to tell you that the thing that hurt the worst in my life is the thing that is my stepping stone. This is what my profession is all about. Is God's sense of humor. Sometimes I say God's warped sense of humor. I don't know what it is. It may not be the most religious way of saying it. But I'm telling you today that you're here for a reason. They've had bigger groups here, and they heard the speaker here, and they stay away in droves. But I got the right people here. I got the perfect crowd here. I'm so honored by the greatness of your heart coming back. I'm here to say, let's come out and play. Let's improve your looks. Let's play not just not to lose. Let's play to win. Let's play with our heart full out. Let's make a difference. Harvard University, the most popular class in Harvard University, is basically the positive psychology, the psychology of happiness. And here they are, which was once a Christian school, now pretty secular. The punchline in that, save you $10,000 for taking the class, the punchline is that happiness doesn't come by what you get. Happiness comes by the contribution of your heart. We desperately need you to live full out. That's what life is all about. That's where your happiness is tied into. That's why I want to introduce you to the journey. If you haven't been through it, it's time to get over whatever you need to get over and take a leap of faith and get involved in this. Arthur says there's like $100 discount if they get involved in it. $100, that's pretty good. But even the thing, I've paid for something like this, I paid more than twice for this thing here. And this is, I know the hearts of the people here, it's awesome. So if you haven't been through Journey, and Arthur didn't ask me to sell this, I'm selling it because I believe it. It's an organization that helps to implement the very message I'm sharing with you today. For you to live large, for you to live with your heart fully engaged with this life, for you to be a problem solver, for you to be a challenge seeker. I've got a client who runs a manufacturing company outside of Tulsa, but a $9 million company, does really well, a young man, 35 years old, but his hobby is he chases storms. And I said, you need medicine. He loves to chase problems. And there's part of your heart that makes it come alive when you learn to do that. Journey is an organization that flat gets you ready to get doing that. For the people that have gone through that, is that true or is that true?
Absolutely.
That's absolutely true here. It's just, I've been working with you, Julie, just for you to come out of your shell a little bit here. So
I'm feeling it.
she's all out here, so I love it. Also, if you want to invest in yourself, here I've got a book. It's called Power to Create, and it really explains. I believe it's one of the healthiest ways to look at money. How many of y'all like the idea of getting more money? All right. How many of you have seen your parents fight over money? Okay. How many of you have seen a lot of conflict over money and people fighting over that? Why do you want more of what causes so much pain in the world? The first chapter of this, the first chapter is the experience I had down in Costa Rica with the pancake lady. It's worth reading by itself. Phenomenal story. Yeah. She changed an entire city making pancakes. You know, it's kind of like weird. But the first part of this is a mess. We have a mess of money. Is good? Is it bad? Is wealth good or is bad? This heals the money issue within you. It just settles the money issue in. And it talks about work. God's, and the purposefulness of work is a very powerful book. I've had a number of people say, well, I don't want to read another prosperity book. It's not. It's actually, it's a correction to the prosperity doctrine. I'm not saying that's not in the Bible, but there's a lot of goofiness and weirdness. As a businessman, to me, it's a lot of weirdness. Well, this answers that, especially in Tulsa, Oklahoma here. This is not against, but it really shows you just through a lot of heartwarming stories, a lot of funny stuff, a lot of vulnerabilities that I share, a lot of really fun stories to this. So I'd love for you to avail this. This is normally $120, but today and today only.
I paid $124.
Yeah. Arthur, soccer stuff here, something I'm going to say, my dear friend. But I would love to get this in your hand for $10 if that's good. I think you can get it online for like $15 if you want to get it there. But I'd love for you to have it. By the way, this goes into our ministry, which is really cool. And every dollar of this is dedicated to a program feeding hungry children. So, now those children are my own. Getting serious on me for a second.
Well, I'm not on commission. Tim's a good friend, but I've read it and it's worth $10. But if you negotiate, he'll probably give it to you for $9.
Okay, Henry, you can go home now. I love Henry Murie. Henry Murie is my strat professor at ORU here, so I think we laugh more than we learn. I think we learn by laughing.
You didn't learn much.
You got more jokes than God's got verses. I know that. But anyways, I'm gonna just close with a challenge to you to improve your looks, because the world around you desperately needs all of who you are. So live large, and we'll see you at the top.
Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn with Tim Redmond. If you want to know more about the Journey Training, you need to contact us at thejourneytraining.com and find out how you can register for the next class.